Welcome to Rockin' Kentucky Blue, the podcast where we are serious about our Cats. Join two card-carrying Blue Rockin' members of the Big Blue Nation as they keep you up to date on the latest happenings of the University of Kentucky Wildcats. Here are your hosts, one calm member of the sports media, Michelle Mamba Brown, and one crazy fan, Jay Hayes.
Welcome to Rockin' Kentucky Blue. Happy Monday on a Tuesday.
Let me guess. That's my fault. It's my fault.
You don't have to guess. Nobody has to guess.
It's really not my fault. Maybe
it's his fault because he thinks
slightly.
he's got to keep adding more bells and whistles to his technical setup, and every time he adds something that used to work stops working, so he keeps adding more things, and then he wonders.
I'm learning. I'm just learning. So
well, if you're going to learn, I would suggest having a backup computer, man.
Yeah.
Go to school.
Sure.
Go to school and tear up their stuff.
Right. So
this is episode 61. So now what?
Now what?
We're in that this particular week.
Yeah.
I mean it's we get a little reprieve next week when volleyball gets back in action, but right now, well, we did get a little basketball news last night, but we're thin on University of Kentucky material. And when you're a University of Kentucky centered podcast,
I mean,
we got to talk about other things.
I mean, it's like vacation time.
So why are we doing a show, Jay?
No, well, I mean, I think we take our vacation in August, right? Didn't we do that last year?
It's whenever
August.
you left town. So.
July, I think it was. Yeah.
You left town in the middle of a global pandemic. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And went to where there was not really that many people. I mean, so a great this year. So
today, my daughter will become fully vaccinated. Well, I can't say fully vaccinated. She'll be fully vaccinated 2 weeks from today. She gets her second dose, but you're not considered fully vaccinated until 2 weeks after. So I'm just keeping my hopes up that she does not suffer from the worst side effects, although she is a magnet for side effects. I'll give her credit. When she went through all of her issues, her surgery last year, every medication they gave her, there's like a 5% chance you might have this, or there's a 5% chance you might get that. She's like, hold my beer. Every side effect, she gets it. Just like when you get your first shot, probably later that night, next morning, your arm's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, no, buddy. But within 3 hours, she was like, I can't move my arm.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, she's got that going on. And like I said, I am a little worried because several of our staff members at church, they all got their second shot last week. Now they got the Moderna.
Yeah.
And we've had Pfizer, but we had one pastor out on the weekend because of the worst stomach flu he ever had. Of course, it was the side effect.
Yeah.
Our bass player, who we rehearsed with for our Good Friday service, we rehearsed on Monday, and then Friday got another day. Like, Will, why are you here? You weren't at rehearsal. 5 songs. You didn't rehearse them? Yeah, that's because JP is doubled over and can't get out of bed because he got his second shot on Wednesday. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm really feeling gung-ho next week.
Right.
All right, I hope I'm not going to get as sick as them, but I'm prepared. I've got Jell-O, I got ginger ale, I got saltine crackers, I've got chicken broth.
Right. How'd that go, by the way? How did Easter go? You played the piano, right?
Well, on Good Friday.
Oh, okay.
We
Well,
had
I
a
mean, that's
special
the
Good
whole
Friday.
weekend. Yeah, it's part of the weekend.
Well, yeah, and Good Friday is a more, I always said that was always the more somber thing because that is recognizing when Jesus was crucified.
Right.
So you don't really celebrate about putting a Savior to death.
Right.
But the music was beautiful. The message was beautiful. Everything went wonderfully. It was amazing, actually, because we had with so much music and limited rehearsal, it went well. Easter Sunday, they had 3 services. They encouraged members to go to the 7:30 or the 9 a.m. service because they anticipated a lot of visitors. And mind you, in an auditorium that seats 750 comfortably.
Right.
We had 723 total, but that was split over 3 services. Plus, they used 2 overflow rooms. So, and most of the worship band went back in the wings because we're doing all the social distancing stuff. But it was a way better than last year, man, when they had to preach to an empty sanctuary. And
Right.
There's the Armstrong Easter offering that's taken up each year. And they came up with the great idea that if people wanted to drop their offerings off, they could drive through. There's like a little covered, I don't know. It wouldn't be a carport because nobody parks there, but there's a little covered spot by one of the entrances.
Right.
So people could drive through there and they would hand out baskets and you could drop your offering in. But you got to wave at the people, you got to wave at the pastors.
Right.
And they would roll down the window. They'd talk to you from 15 feet away.
Right.
Well, and that was it. You got like a 2-minute conversation, but we hadn't seen each other for, almost 2 months at that point. Yeah. So it was weird, but this was a whole lot less weird, even though it was so strange. JD, we hope when you get Friday. Will,
I'm there too.
I'm just all I'm saying, JD, don't I wouldn't make plans.
So JD, he won't be available like Wednesday, Friday. So Saturday and Sunday, he's off limits.
He may be off. Well, it depends because most people report that it kicks in about 12 to 18 hours after you get the shot. So Friday, you'll be fine, but your weekend's screwed. That's all I've got to say for you. So, and the thing is, you get all the body, and that's the other thing. So they just ached all over for like 24 hours, the worst body aches, and you can't take aspirin or Tylenol or anything because if you take anything for the pain, that can reduce the effectiveness of your vaccine. So like chills and fever. Yeah, see, Moderna's got to be worse than Pfizer because the worst I had, JD said he got chills and a fever from the first shot. I did not have chills. I did not have fever. I didn't even think my arm was hurting until the next day around lunchtime. I went to get something off the top shelf of my pantry and went, oh, whoa. So raising my arm like this hurt a whole lot. So I stopped raising my arm and went back to bed and took a 4-hour nap because I was really tired.
Yeah. JD had COVID too. So.
Well, the good thing I don't know if you still had any after effects of COVID, the people that they call the long haulers that, are technically recovered, but are still can't smell things, still can't taste things, still have that brain fog that won't lift. There are reports that getting the vaccination is making those symptoms or those issues improve significantly, which is I've got a couple of friends suffering from that, and I'm hoping that's going to help them out. So, but there's even with that new strain coming through, if everybody would just get their act together and get vaccinated, that's going to slow that down. And the people that have been vaccinated, they may get the new strain, but again, it's one of these things where you're getting minimal symptoms. 80 days. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's crazy. You'll be getting a booster here in 6 months as well, from what I'm hearing. So, or next year. So
I haven't heard the booster that I've heard that I heard they said the vaccine had been proven effective for 6 months. But that's really as long as they've been given it. So people that have it still have the same protection. So maybe in 3 months they'll say it's good for 9.
Right.
And after 9, well, it's still. And if I have to get it every year, no big deal.
So I mean, great weekend.
Beautiful weather finally.
Beautiful out. And then we got to Monday night.
Well, but see, you just blew right by Saturday, which had arguably,
Saturday.
we'll say one of the top 5. No, we'll put it top 3 tournament games ever.
I want it to be the top 1. Because you know why.
Well, yeah, but the fact that the announcers made it a point repeatedly to refer to Christian Laettner, and the fact that the announcers repeatedly talked about 2015.
Right.
Where were all the specials this year on how do you beat Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Well, because Mark Few's more likely. I don't care if you are supposedly a sports news organization. Your job is to report, not to provide bias.
Right.
And we all remember the 2015 season, there was not one, but at least 2 different shows they put together. How do you beat Kentucky?
Yep.
Well, and I'm happy to report neither one of those shows was effective because all their ways to beat Kentucky didn't work. So what you had to do was you had to have Alex Poitras out with an injury to face one guy that doesn't match up with any other of the other 9 players who couldn't miss a shot. That's how you beat them. Oh, and you also have to have a shot clock violation that goes uncalled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, but for that, we win.
Right. And if y'all remember too, JD said he wasn't a believer. I said I wasn't a believer at the very beginning. I watched Gonzaga play in their little WCC conference, and some of those teams like Pepperdine were keeping up with them, played them, most of the game until the very end, and Gonzaga would pull away. But how are these teams keeping up with Gonzaga? And I believe I even told you, Michelle.
Well, I mean, we all agree that they're not as great as everybody said they were. Certainly not greater than the 2015 team. Are you?
Oh yeah.
And the 2012 team. And I mean, come on.
Right.
I would like to point out Baylor was shut down for 2 weeks with COVID. So
3.
Okay, but so that they lost a lot of playing time, a lot of you had 2 sides of the coin there. Yeah. One team not shut down at all. One team that lost almost a month that was actually on a buzzsaw kind of run until then. They came back, lost a couple of games, won the national championship! Exclamation point. End of that discussion.
Asterisk.
No, it's exclamation point because it just what it did was it blew your COVID argument right out of the water.
They are definitely deserving. I mean, they just played outstanding. And just to add though, Gonzaga did miss 5 games this year due to COVID. JD did point out though that they still got to practice and everything.
So there was a different. Baylor was shut down.
But that was one of the games they missed.
What was one of the things? I forget what it said about. Oh, Gonzaga. We're undefeated in the Western Coast Conference. And they had a picture of Doofus with the mustache.
Yeah.
And then next to that was a picture of one of the Baylor dudes like, we lift with the football team.
Yeah.
And it showed. I mean, and the knock on, and you say, how can teams keep up with Gonzaga? Tell you why, because Gonzaga had, and it showed, they think defense is optional. We'll just outscore you. We don't really have to defend. They would toy with some teams and let them, well, I don't want to say toy, but they let them stay in, and then they would kind of like buckle down and go on a little bit of a run, and they end up winning. I think they actually thought they could walk into last night's game and do that. And they looked, they were down 9-0 before you could even get the first drink of your beverage of choice to your lips. I was like, what?
It was a beatdown from the beginning to the end. Gonzaga did make a little run, tried to get back in it, but
they closed within 10.
Yeah.
I said, and still, all these people, I'm not going to call it Aaron Torres, who's just been beating the Gonzaga drum all year.
Right.
But what's got a greater chance of happening? Gonzaga comes back and wins, or the United States of Al will be on TV. Everybody, Gonzaga comes back from the no big. They hadn't been down 9 points the entire tournament.
Right.
They had not faced. Granted, UCLA gave them a game.
Yeah.
UCLA gave them a whale of a game on Saturday night.
Yeah.
You would think, call me crazy. You think that would have kind of like got their attention. That's the closest thing they had. It looked like it was going to be double overtime, which thank goodness I wasn't scheduled to play music. Because if I'd had to play in the band on Sunday, I would have had to be at church at 6 a.m. For rehearsal and then be there for 3 services. After no sleep.
Right. Yeah, it was. And what Baylor did to Houston and then come do it to Gonzaga.
Well, the thing about, I was like, I'm settled in Saturday, like, this is going to be a good doubleheader. I was expecting 2 competitive games.
Right.
I expected it to be Baylor and probably Gonzaga because once they got to the Final Four, I said they'll get to the title game.
Yeah.
But the Houston Baylor game was laughable.
Yeah.
And like 10 minutes into it, I'm like, I think I'm going to. Well, actually, I did. I went and organized one of my desk drawers.
Right. And the UCLA and Gonzaga game was great. And it made it that much better because we just watched this wait, is this a Final Four game? It was like, it was weird. But Baylor was the best team this year. They did their thing.
I think they got to be one of the top teams all year, I think they got very little respect coming into the Final Four.
Right.
And the only thing everybody talked about, especially after that shot, the shot. Because you're going to double overtime. As a matter of fact, while I see the clock counting down, and just because of the angle that I was from the TV at that particular moment, as I was closer to the kitchen, it looked like it hit the backboard. I never saw it go through the net. And I wasn't paying that close of attention because, double overtime, time to get me another, glass of tea. And then I glance back and I see everybody on Gonzaga going nuts. And I'm like, how are you that excited for, you could have ended this thing, but double overtime, you're that excited? I would expect UCLA to be on the floor.
Right.
Yeah, they meant.
Right.
And then I see the final flash. I'm like, whoa, get the DVR thing, back it up. Holy heck.
Yeah.
Then I backed it up, and then I watched it in slow-mo. I'm like, there's no way.
Right. Unbelievable shot. I like the reactions from the UCLA fans because, in the last seconds, Johnny Juzang put up a shot, missed a shot, got his rebound, put it back in. The UCLA fans are like, yeah!
Well, they were like,
oh, damn. Oh, damn.
Yeah, well. Got news for you, UCLA. That'll stick with you for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe even, I don't know, 28, 29 years.
Right.
That's going to stick with you. And not on the good end. And I'm real sorry about that. I hope you enjoyed your pool party at Coach Cronin's. I really don't like him.
Yeah.
Besides just not wanting UCLA to gain any ground in titles, I don't care for the coach.
Right. Johnny Juzang, 137 points.
Why do Kentucky fans have to keep going back into this revisionist history?
Right.
Because they were not big Johnny Juzang fans while he was here.
Right.
He get in a game. He missed a shot. He missed a shot. Well, why is Cal putting him out there? He's not the Cal trying to tell us he's a shooter. Well, he doesn't shoot.
Yeah. I mean, you got to show the kid some love. I mean, Cal's still showing him love, but
But I'm talking about that segment of fans that go on and on and on about while he was here.
Yeah.
They showed him zero love. Then he goes to UCLA and does what a lot of freshmen do.
Right.
After
a year later,
year
of
when
experience,
they become a sophomore, not
Right.
to mention a year of training at UK.
Right.
Let's
how come
clarify.
that never came into the picture? Like, Johnny Juzang is balling. I mean, you think the year at Kentucky helped that? How about
You
give
think
that
having
some
to
love?
practice against Quickly and Hagens and Maxey, you think that doesn't get you anywhere?
Right.
You know, he gets
to be the man at UCLA. I mean, I don't even know if he was the man on the practice squad at Kentucky, but at UCLA, he gets to be the man. So,
well, he was the man on the second team.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, he had to be because after that there was exactly. That's my point.
But at UCLA, he'll get his 20 plus shots a game, and he can be the man, and that'd be it. Hey, cheers to him. I hope he succeeds.
Oh, tickle! But here's the thing: he actually gets on television. He has given print interviews. Why'd you leave Kentucky? Why'd you leave Kentucky? Why'd you leave Kentucky? Man, there was a pandemic that kicks in. I'm across the country from my family, and I'm used to being with my family all the time. If you all recall, his uncle came to Kentucky. Yeah, right. Well, he had an apartment. He would come, he came 2 or 3 times for extended visits.
Right.
So he would have family. The kid was homesick. He's told you from day one he was homesick. And like I said, the pandemic and that kind of like, I want to be back. You can't travel now. So you got one shot. You go home, you're there.
I mean, I think that was some of it. But
he said it was some of it.
Yeah, but I think that, I want 20 shots a game. I want to be the guy, and you're not going to be the guy at Kentucky. We know Cal's system. I mean,
well, here's the thing: if you play defense and you make your shots,
yeah.
I submit to you Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting 20 shots his freshman year.
Yeah.
He started playing defense. Kind of hard to, he had a little bit of a different measuring stick when you're playing defense and you got Ashton Hagens playing defense. You're going to look kind of anemic next to Ashton Hagens.
Right.
But he was still effective. He wasn't lost.
I was fixing to say he was, yeah.
He wasn't wandering around like Dante Allen going, who's my man?
Right.
I'm covering who? And that's not a knock on Dante Allen. Love the kid. He's a good kid. Great attitude. Just
work on defense.
He never had to play defense in high school.
Right.
And that's where you get a lot of these one and done types or the 5-star. They were the man. They didn't have to play defense.
Right.
Some of them didn't even have to run back down the court. They just waited down there for their guys to bring the ball back so they could score. That's just how it is. But
yeah. And remember, there was a point where Kentucky fans saying Quickly needs to start. He needs to start because he didn't there for a while. And he was playing really good, and eventually he did. He played his way there with defense and shooting the ball. That first year, he was hesitating on his shot. Second year, he let it fly, and we know what happened.
I get so irritated with the fans, though, that, well, Cal chased him off. Not now, because, well, even the national media at that point, at least, like I said, they repeated he was homesick. But the thing that really got me with the national media, and Dick Vitale will be my most recent example, although there have been many others. But Dick Vitale was one of the worst, and he's got a really, really big mouth. We know that.
Yeah, Oh yeah.
But it makes it easier to talk out of both sides if it's extra large, apparently.
Right.
So he's on Twitter the other night going on about this horrible thing about people, not having to sit out after a transfer and the players getting to go on and play immediately. And look at how the transfer portal's filling up, and this is just a horrible thing. It's bad for the game. You make a commitment to a team, you need to stay there, blah, 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 blah. Then the next tweet, Johnny Juzang was the greatest thing for UCLA, and blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, do you not know the very thing you spent 15 tweets telling everybody's a bad thing is exactly why UCLA has Johnny Juzang playing tonight?
Right.
Hello.
Right. And Baylor, they had 3 transfers on their team. I mean, it was about the transfers, really.
Yeah, like
and they're top 7.
And they're praising these teams for their performance, and they're going back on Twitter telling you how this transfer rule is killing college basketball.
Yeah, it's
my head is spinning on a stick. Now, let's take the hypocrisy just a little bit further.
Yeah.
So Devin Askew, unexpectedly for me, I would say for you, because you didn't see this one coming.
No, not at all.
He announces he's going to the transfer portal. I would suspect at least part of that was how the fans treated him.
Yep.
And they, those nasty mouth people can say, Cal did it, Cal. Okay. And I read this last night, and I shouldn't read the comments. We know I shouldn't read the comments.
Don't read the comments.
I read the comments, but as soon as I read the comments, I got up from my seat and I walked away, because otherwise I was going to reply, and then that was probably going to start a 47 post argument, and I just didn't. Yeah. I got better things to do, and yesterday's kind of a tough day. Last week was tough. I'm totally just going off topic for just a second, but a friend of mine of 45 years passed away last week.
Hate to hear that.
She had lung issues for several years, so she was absolutely maniacal about avoiding COVID. If she got out of the house, it was into her vehicle, but she didn't go anywhere since the lockdown. Her daughter ran all her errands, and she did not get COVID. She got really sick early March, and so she finally got to the doctor, and they said, you probably need to go to the hospital, get x-rays. So she went to Baptist Health, and they confirmed no COVID, but she had double pneumonia. It's like, you're going to check in here for a few days. We're going IV antibiotics, going to really, and after a couple of weeks, she was not getting better, and they put her on a ventilator because they thought that was going to rest her lungs more. And as her oxygen sats increased, they brought her out of sedation, except she never woke up. And that was that. So her funeral was yesterday.
Sorry to hear.
I appreciate that. She took a great interest in my grandson. He's got a handmade blanket from her, and the procedure he had done, her son had done when he was young. And she was the one who first mentioned it to us. Like, ask your doctor about this. And so Emily did. And sure enough, that's been the thing that's really turned my grandson's health around, so that she had that. So I didn't have any patience for the Askew haters last night.
Right.
And so here's, stay with me. Cal chased Juzang off because he didn't let him play, remember?
Yeah.
Didn't give him enough shots. You didn't let him play. Cal chased him off. So, mental heavyweight number 1 comes into the party. There's a few people wish him well, feel bad for him. I think the fans treated him like crap.
Yeah.
Here comes our big blue hero. Well, what'd you expect? Cal chased him off just like he did Juzang. What was the number one complaint about Askew this year? He played too much.
Yeah, too many minutes.
So if you don't play enough minutes, Cal has chased you off. And if you play too many minutes, Cal has chased you off in exactly the same way. That's where the intellect of the Big Blue Nation is, in this one little pocket that I want to take their BBN cards. I want to revoke their ability to wear anything with the University of Kentucky logo on it.
Yeah.
And I wish every time they said, "Oh, go Big Blue," that something came and smacked them in the face. That's what I wish.
I hate that Askew's leaving. I liked Askew. You know, he did struggle, but he was one of those kids that kept his head up and kept fighting, and I love that. And he was also one of those kids that said, you know, I'm not one of those West Coast kids that's just going to transfer. He's, you know, and that whole thing. My guess is, you know, Cal's doing his thing in recruiting, and they had a discussion, and they both agreed to, you know, it's probably best for you to move on.
I'm not going to believe that discussion part, because Askew was making improvements and he was catching on. I don't think Cal ever willingly gives up experience from somebody,
right,
that fights like he did. That even if he wasn't going to start,
part of it. That's part of it. Those discussions are part of it. And I think Cal did say, you know what, you're going to have to fight for these minutes.
Okay, but that's not saying get on your horse and leave.
No,
it's better for you to leave. Well, you're just saying he said it was it'd be better off.
No, I didn't say that. I think they both agreed that it was better for him to move on somewhere else. And Cal is totally, I mean, supportive of him.
Well, I'm saying, okay, there you go with the whip around BBN. You don't get it both ways. You don't get to say.
I think that discussion took place.
The discussion of guess who's here?
Jerry.
Yeah, he couldn't stand it.
Right.
You can have the discussion and say these people are coming in, but I don't think that Cal says it's probably in your best interest to be somewhere else. I don't think that. I can see him saying you're going to have to fight for your minutes because you're coming back doesn't guarantee you the time.
Right. Oh yeah, I agree with that. I would think it would more.
And if you're going to say minutes are hard to get, that's because Cal has always been honest about you earn your minutes.
Right.
In spite of people saying Boston didn't earn his minutes, Boston did a lot of things that people never noticed that he did.
Right.
He didn't do what they wanted him to do exactly but we won't go there because then my blood pressure will go up again.
For goodness sakes, Cal told Anthony Davis, you got to earn your playing time to Anthony Davis. So, I mean, that's what Cal does. A lot of people don't.
Carl Anthony Towns got that. You know,
right.
Now I suspect maybe I'm thinking John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins maybe didn't get that speech so much because he didn't have anybody. It was his first year. He was getting who he could get. But anyway, I wish Askew will. Like I said, that was kind of daggone what's going on.
Right.
But the amount of hatred that was still coming out at him with those comments, you know, it cost you nothing to say, wish you well.
Right.
Thanks for fighting this year. Wish you well. You don't have to go, well, I think, you know, I don't like your hairdo and you kneeled. And they're still talking about the kneeling. Still talking about the kneeling. Oh, my word.
Still, yeah. So what if Askew goes to Louisville? How weird is that going to look?
Well, it can look weird, but really, what do they have at Louisville? I mean, they lost how many recruits already?
Right.
And they're Louisville.
They're Louisville. So, yeah.
What about Hubert Davis?
Yeah.
Interesting choice for North. If you were under a rock last week, you didn't hear about Roy Williams resigning. I'm sure that you heard all kinds of things about Roy being ahead of the program, overseeing the program during 20 years of academic fraud. That was brought up a lot, wasn't it?
Amongst some people.
What do you think, Jerry? Yeah, not a word on that. Roy was the greatest coach ever.
Yeah.
And boy, we admire him because he says he just can't do things like, he can't maintain the same level. And I'll give him credit for that. That's.
Now he has what's it called, Michelle? You've experienced.
Oh, he got vertigo.
Vertigo.
Or as he calls it, vertigo.
I mean, so his world was spinning at times. He's getting up there in age. And I mean, he was a great coach.
He was. And he was a likable guy.
Yeah.
It just, it kind of started ringing empty when every single March that I just know this was the greatest bunch of guys I ever coached. I really couldn't miss them as he left the tournament in the second round.
Right.
I've had that as a standing joke for years, and everybody acts like it's new. Like, it's March when Roy Williams is on TV crying, saying, "This is the greatest bunch of guys I ever coached."
Now, he called the last year's team out. He was like, "We're just horrible."
They were not the greatest.
Team under the bus. Yeah.
He threw them under the bus. Then he jumped into the bus.
Yeah.
And drove over them. Then he backed up and did it again.
Yeah.
But he's like being recognized some kind of like tremendous hero because, he stepped back before it got bad. No, he stepped back after it was bad.
Yeah.
Like, almost like you would have expected Coach K almost to. I'm still shocked he did not have a back injury this year.
I don't believe it. That's now. And what about Bill Self?
Now,
lifetime. Oh, what?
Because they can't do anything original at Kansas.
under
two kinds of investigation. With the evidence is like oozing out past state lines.
Yeah. And
the national media is celebrating Bill Self's lifetime contract. I'm thinking, they said was a 5-year rollover. I said, is it 5-year rollover? Or is it 5 to life? Which is it? I mean,
right.
I mean, we're talking FBI stuff too here.
They're one violations, and that's not good. And they give him a lifetime contract and in search for an AD. All at the same time. Oh, it's wild. It's wild. Michelle's speechless.
I mean, well, that's all. When I read that, I was just
right.
I don't know what else you say. Just
unbelievable.
Yeah, they made a pretty quick and unattractive exit from the tournament.
Yeah.
I believe how I put it on Twitter was Bill Self running out of time since 2012. Running out of hair plugs since, that date has not been firmly established. We don't know when it went to hair plugs, but yeah. I'd be fine if they were celebrating these coaches or not saying anything about the bad things, if they didn't manage to somehow jab at Kentucky somehow in the midst of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't go undefeated until 2015, could they? Yeah, right. That has nothing to do with anything, but yeah, be sure you bring that up.
It's amazing out there. I mean, and the coaches, I saw all kinds of coaches in this tournament, with the last seconds to close games, didn't call a timeout. No timeouts called. If that were Cal,
oh my gosh,
they would have been on his ass. But no, these coaches were like, and that's how you play that.
This is a great move because they don't have time to get their defense set.
Right, which is true. But if it were Cal doing it, I'm telling you, he would have been like, no, that's just bad. That's not good. And of course, Big Blue Nation would have been like, I hate Cal. He can't coach and blah, 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 blah. That's what they do.
Well, I know. But Cal, hey, he can't wait to get started for next season.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get that soundbite because you turned me off when you were like, oh, the whole 3 seconds. That's like,
well, I mean, we were
true.
actually, when I send you a message and I'm like, we got no topics. And you're like, LOL. And I'm like, I'm not joking. We got no topics.
Yeah.
I mean, we've stretched this out, which is pretty amazing. We've gone 40 minutes with no top. Thank goodness that there was a basketball game this weekend.
Oh, I mean, when I see the headline, the title of episode 61, now what? I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, because, I mean, we could talk about baseball, which, Kentucky baseball doing better than what many expected.
Yeah.
However, for those of us that follow the program, and for those of us who happen to golf with his uncle on occasion, actually one of the first golfers that I met when I first started playing, Mason Hazelwood, who was arguably our best pitcher on the staff. He was the Saturday starter in the rotation, and he, last weekend, they pulled him out in the 6th inning or so. The elbow was hurting him. And they did. So he's got a torn UCL, which is apparently a pretty common baseball injury. So he's out for the year. Now he's a senior, but he could use the extra year of eligibility that everybody's been granted. Have not heard yet whether he'll do that. But that's kind of I don't know. I think that just kind of took a little bit of the wind out of their sails, so they struggled. The pitching actually came back better than we thought against Mississippi State this weekend. The bats went ice cold, other than TJ Collette, but he can't score all the runs. So they're kind of treading water. Softball now they got into league play, they're kind of win one, lose one, win one, lose one, but they're in every game. So not much different from previous seasons. UK Gymnastics. I watched that. That was only online to watch, but Friday night and Saturday night, of course, they were in Salt Lake. So starting at 9:00, it's only 6:00 out there.
Right.
The fact that I'm up till 11 watching gymnastics. Why am I up till? But I did. And I watched them Friday night. Kentucky was like this little buzzsaw, and I'm watching. Nobody's falling, and when you get 6 athletes that will perform on each apparatus, and you take the 5 top scores. So somebody could fall, face plant, whatever, and you get to drop their score. You only take the 5 best. And I'm watching them event after 9/8's what they're throwing out because that's their worst score. And they have a season high score on Friday night for the regional semifinals. LSU, like number 3 in the country, beat them.
Yeah.
But the top 2 in the regional semis go to the regional final because they had 2 different pods. So we had LSU again, Utah, and Arizona State for Saturday night. And Kentucky goes out. Well, here we are again. I'm not going to let you disconnect the show, Jerry. Here, we'll let you say hi. Oh, yeah, now there we go. Now you can show them your face. Okay. I was concerned because Utah is a elite team. LSU comes out, they had somebody got a 10. Utah had somebody got a 10. And I was like, oh, man, we're going to get just like demoralized, humiliated. No, the Kentucky athletes went out there. Not only did they score as high as they did on Friday night, they set another record on Saturday night.
Right.
4/10 higher. Which you say 4/10? What's that? 4/10 is that's like 10 points in basketball. If you get 4/10, absolute highest score of the season. I think it tied their program's highest score ever, and came in third. What you going to do? So, great season for the Gym Cats, but they're done. They got a lot of youth. They're losing a couple of key ones, but they had some underclassmen that were like rocks this year. We didn't have volleyball this week.
No.
We had the volleyball selection show.
Yeah.
Kentucky got the number 2 national seed. Now, ordinarily, this would mean a whole regional is played at your gym.
Yeah.
This is not ordinarily.
No.
This is
asterisk season.
This is COVID season. There's not going to be an asterisk on this one either.
Okay. COVID season. Pandemic season.
Well, the thing is, it didn't really change much in the world of volleyball. They played their matches.
Yeah.
They had their full schedule, so you going on with all your crap, whatever.
Yeah, well, they missed some games, didn't they? Didn't they miss some games?
They did, but it wasn't because of them. The schools they were supposed to play, like Texas A&M, because the entire state of Texas was stupid.
Right.
And I guess SEC opted to not make those up.
Right.
But I mean, what 2 more sweeps? I mean, we were a little buzzsaw, and Hunter told you how much the quality of the SEC competition was. So right. South Carolina, we would have obliterated. And A&M, I think that would have been a sweep as well. But anyway, for those that listened last week when Hunter was going through about what our chances would be in the NCAA, you got Wisconsin or Penn State, you get into those. They're not even on our side of the bracket. Not to mention, not in our bracket. They're not even on the same side. They're over here. We're over here.
Right.
This is arguably the best chance Kentucky has of making the Final Four. They have gotten.
You and Hunter both pointed out too. You more so, but pointed out that if they got that good draw, that they had a very good chance of making to the Final Four. You, however, yes, they are. He's kind of skeptical about it, but they did get the good draw.
I was just like, I kept looking at it. I mean, I saw the little video they did of the watch party, and I went back and looked at that bracket, and I went, Wisconsin's over here, Penn State's over there, Nebraska's up there. Where's our path? And Purdue, we could possibly have a matchup with Purdue in a couple of rounds. That's good, JD. The A&M volleyball coach asked them why the state of Texas is stupid.
Wow.
Well, they are. How many times it was granted against the Texas game. That's when we had the false positive. The false positive.
Yeah.
But Texas was shut down prior to that another time. A&M shut down. Texas Tech shut down. Baylor shut. I mean.
Yeah.
Do we notice a pattern here? Louisville got shut down because they got an idiotic coach.
Very true.
And we got video evidence of this. It's not like I just made this up. There is video evidence to support this statement. Dang. So anyhow, the volleyball team starts there. They're all playing in Omaha. So you don't get a home court advantage this tournament. Everybody's in Omaha. And instead of 64 teams that you would normally have in the volleyball tournament, there's 48. So they just immediately 16 teams, boom, gone.
Yeah.
But they were going to lose anyway.
Yeah.
We saved them. They didn't have to travel to Omaha to get it humiliated. They could just stay home.
Right. You're welcome, 16 teams. You're welcome.
We saved you the mileage. We saved you.
Yeah.
Saved you all that. So here's we kind of covered what we know has happened.
Right.
We've still got some question marks.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't mention that UK football got a couple of strong. Big Dog was booming Yahtzee
Yeah.
this weekend, and with good reason. Got some homegrown boys.
Always
That
like
should-
it when they get the Kentucky kids.
Well, if they're good,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the problem. Oh, good Kentucky kid. That's like magically. Yes, there have been some players that because they were from Kentucky might have played a little harder, a little strong, but they weren't program changers if they weren't like a 5-star already,
Right.
or 4-star, or whatever. Like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This whole notion that if you're not from Kentucky, you don't care. I was talking about cleaning up my old computer while I was trying to set up my new computer.
Yeah.
I really buckled down this weekend, and I managed to wade through finally got the total 4,792 files.
Wow.
Which I was able to reduce. Now, there's a lot of these. There's a lot of family pictures and a lot of stuff of me covering games. There's some pictures there that were special that I want to keep. But I got everything pared down to 780 files.
Nice. Almost in my computer till you get it straight. You get this thing fixed.
Took me 10 days. 10 days to go through that. But through all of that, I found that I have forgotten what the point was. There was a point initially when I started this, but then you threatened to send me your computer, and that's
always my fault. Always.
Well, yeah.
Well, you got your computer cleaned out. Took you 10 days. Got it down.
That had nothing to do with that. Had nothing to do with the point. The point was something I came across when I was cleaning out the computer, and I can't remember what it was now. I also don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, so this shouldn't be a big surprise.
Right. I mean, I do that as well.
I don't know why I walked into the kitchen last night. I get up.
I do that.
Walk in the kitchen, like.
Right. What I come in here for?
If you look at the ceiling, whatever it is will fall down on you.
Yeah.
No, it will not happen until you go all the way back where you were. And as soon as you sit down, now you remember.
Yeah.
Which is why I keep a pad of Post-it notes on my end table.
Yeah.
Because if I'm getting ready to get up, I will write down. My daughter laughs at me, but I'm telling you what, I have reduced the number of trips to the kitchen by 80%. Because I write down why I'm going, stick it on my hand, get in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why.
I am not lying. I do that. You do what works for you, and that works for me.
And make it work.
I'm sure it had something to do with homegrown Kentucky kids.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd love to have like a little X-ray of my brain and where these thoughts go.
Right. Well, I mean, you can tweet it out, when you remember.
Probably not going to happen. I'm still. I've gotten off on that. So, like I said, like your thought starts here and it needs to come here, and so it's over here somewhere, and I can't see it. So
yeah. Best thing is not to even think about it.
And then it'll come back. And I'm like, well, why does that matter?
Right.
Because I will forget that
and that's when you tweet it.
Well, no, you tweet it, except I wouldn't know why I'm tweeting it. So I don't know why. I don't know why I thought of this, and I'll just go on with my merry little life. I will forget that I was wanting to remember this.
Right.
Because that's how my brain works. That's what happens when you're closing in on 60. I don't know. Can't go there.
Right. But good vibes still coming out of spring football. Excited. You haven't seen it. Stoops excited like this before, have you?
He's been joking in press conferences, and that just that almost never happens unless it's immediately after a big win.
Yeah.
And we haven't won anything this spring.
Volleyball.
Well, I'm talking football because we couldn't even win a spring game because we didn't have a spring game because
Volleyball school. But yeah, no spring. They're using the facilities for vaccinations
and getting through a lot of people a day.
Yeah.
If I heard correctly, that Kroger Field was that like 1,500 a day? They managed through, or
I don't know. Check your Post-it note.
No, I didn't have that written down. That was just something. I mean, I heard a blurby. Right. I know at the horse park they
was getting them through. Yeah.
Bang.
Oh,
bang,
when you told me
bang.
they had like 18 stations, and I was like,
yeah,
wow.
20 registration stations. That's where you just go in. You got your ID, got your insurance card, and they ask you allergy questions, give you a paper. You get up, you go into the next line, and then there's 18 stations with shot, and a big clock on the wall. See that clock when it's been 15 minutes, then you can go home because they want you to stay there in case you're going to go to anaphylactic shock.
Wow.
Yeah.
But some rumors flying around. We
that's what I know. So why that Brooks' father says one thing.
Yeah.
And then is it that same outlet that can no longer use the UK logo?
They're a big part of it, but no, I mean, it is some rumors coming from. That's probably where they're coming from. Some of their people, but I mean, there's some people out there that know some things, and
or then there's also some people out there that just talk out of their butt.
Just start some things. I mean, there are both, but
there's some attention hungry people out there.
Yes, but that doesn't take away from the fact that there are people that know some things, and this is one of the things that's been brought up is Keon Brooks. His dad says one thing. Askew's dad said one thing. So that's one of the rumors out there that he could be next. And we still have the Mintz decision coming. We still have.
I just can't see Brooks leaving. That one to me. His position wasn't recruited highly or not as heavily as, because let's face it, guard plays where we need the guards.
Right.
Specifically a play-making point guard. If he can make free throws, big bonus.
Right.
That is our critical need. But, we don't have a whole lot of Keon Brooks position players.
Right.
His experience, his athleticism, the fact that he knows the program.
Yeah.
He'd be a whale of a leader.
Right. So the rumors come from his mom looking at some other schools. So I'll just say that.
Well, she can she go to enroll?
Don't think she was asking for herself. So there's that.
I will say that mamas don't always get their way.
Right. And
that could be her looking.
Right.
Because she wants to convince him of something.
Right. And that could be true, but it's kind of looking like Brooks might leave. And I like Keon Brooks. Hope he stays, but right now the rumor is he could be leaving.
Well, JD saying players that can bounce between the 3-4, Big KB, Toppin, and Hopkins. That almost sounds like a law firm.
Right.
If you or any member of your family qualify for this, please contact our associates at KB, Toppin, and Hopkins.
Right.
Well, just this because we are wrapping up here on an hour.
Yeah.
I would like, because we've got, my little calendar here.
Yeah.
Couple of things that happened. In 2018 NBA season, former basketball player and coach Dwayne Casey was named NBA Coach of the Year. He got screwed in the whole NCAA thing.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm sorry, but there's absolutely no way, first off, that he put $1,000 in a package and mailed it. You're never, ever going to convince me of that. And of all the packages, all of the hundreds of thousands of packages that go through this facility in Los Angeles, this is the one that would magically pop open and, oh, we saw money in there. If he was mailing money, you're going to tell me he didn't put 7 layers of duct tape around that package? Hogwash that pop. So that's just, it was UCLA boosters that did that. I'm telling you, till my dying day, I believe that. But Dwayne Casey was a class act. Glad he had great things happen for him. And another fun fact that goes with football, not just fun, but one we should all be proud of, and we are. And fortunately, the university got it together a couple of years back, well, 3 or 4 years back. In 1965, Nate Northington became the first African-American football player to sign with an SEC school. Of course, he signed to Kentucky, part of that group with Greg Page, Houston Hogg, and the other guy.
And his statue's out there.
That statue is awesome.
Yeah. I've got some pictures with that. Yeah.
Yeah, for all the
Statue's
Kentucky
beautiful.
is racist, Kentucky is racist, Kentucky is racist, and yet we integrated SEC football. Yeah. And those guys went down the deep south with death threats.
Yeah.
I say Mama and Daddy Brooks are maybe headed for a divorce. Mama checking out other schools, and Daddy's saying he'll be, if he's still in college, he's going to play at Kentucky.
Right.
They apparently don't get along.
So
or
we'll
else
see
they sit at the dining room table going, let's watch what we can do to the baby. They talk bad about our boy.
Yeah. Let's get them. Let's get them all riled up.
And, it's easy. I mean,
Right. And we're still waiting on Mintz decision, which with Askew leaving, kind of looks it could be favorable for Kentucky. So we'll see.
Did you, like, every time that they were saying Davion Mitchell this weekend, were you in your mind seeing a picture of Davion Mintz? I mean,
yeah.
I hear
Mitchell
nobody.
Is unbelievable, though. That kid.
But I mean, I don't hear anybody named Davion.
Yeah.
Davon, Devin, Damien.
Yeah.
But not Davion, and then all of a sudden it's Davion.
And 2 last names that start with an M. So, yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Now what?
Well, next week I get my shot, and UK volleyball starts the same thing. So
let's go Big Blue.
But that's a whole week away because we'll have a show before that starts. I have no idea what we'll talk about next week.
Yeah.
So if you have topics you would like us to cover, we don't care. We'll research them and figure it out. You can tweet us at Rockin' KY Blue, ROCKINKY Blue. You could send them to the wrong one. You just point and see. Yeah, point to the wrong one, and he points the wrong way. So that just, thank you for making my point.
Right.
You could email, you could tweet at JHAZZEKY, or you could even tweet them to the one who will make sure that it gets covered at Forever Big Blue, FOREVERBIGBLUE.
Forever.
A lot of letters.
One word.
And the word spelled out, no numbers, nothing. You can follow us on Instagram at Rockin' KY Blue. You can like our Facebook page, Rockin' KY Blue. You can follow us on Twitter at Rockin' KY Blue. And if you think that you just don't want to tweet, you could even DM us if you don't want the world to see what your questions or suggestions are. Our DMs are open at Rockin' KY Blue. Podcast, well, look at right down there. You can see it. Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Radio
Apple.
Public. Well, I don't even see the Apple thing on there. I'm
Google.
going by
Apple.
the pictures I'm
Spotify.
seeing.
Podchaser, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, TuneIn.
Spreaker.
It's there.
And if you're listening to a podcast or anything else, why? What about that particular selection? What would make any other platform more desirable? They, like Spotify,
Right.
You got to create an account. You don't have to pay anything. You got to pay.
Spotify's Apple and Spotify are the two big ones.
iHeart is handy. I mean,
iHeart is a big one as well. But we're there, so tune in.
it's on Google. I'm still trying to get Alexa to understand what I want to listen to because she did it one time.
Right.
She hadn't done it since. And I hadn't known it was, she called it Rockin' Kai. Rockin' Kai.
Kai Blue.
Yeah,
Anyway.
well, JD, you can say that's what we'll talk about, but yeah, 5 minutes. We need a topic. That's what we need. Anyhow, with the weather better,
Yeah,
with the COVID situation, hopefully, we kind of plateaued again. That means people, you can't let up. I know you're tired of wearing masks. I know you're tired of socially distancing. I know you're tired of not gathering in crowds. We're all tired of it, but if you want this to go on for another year, stop doing the right thing now. Remember last year we said, wash your hands, wear a mask, stay home, and you didn't, and look where it got us. That's all I got to say. And the vaccine only works if everybody goes and does it. Or at least 90%.
yeah.
Or we go on hiatus and play the best of shows. Yeah, well. See, that would mean Jay would have to do some editing. Ask him how well his computer works this week. Anyway.
Not happening.
What was keeping you from what was using your microphone?
I have another app, OBS, and for some reason the virtual camera in that broadcast system will not turn off. So I was kind of worried throughout this. I think I'm gonna have to uninstall and reinstall, but I was kind of nervous it would click off, but my camera for StreamYard wouldn't come on.
Well, here's a mystery thing for you. Of course, Now before I bought my laptop, I go and I check all the reviews. Now, you couldn't get lost in a wormhole of reviews because there's always going to be somebody that says it's the worst thing they ever had. And somebody else is going to say it's the best thing. So you got to kind of weigh it. And I think I did a pretty good job in terms of what seemed to be the best review for the price for the features.
Right.
So anyhow, while I'm setting up my laptop, got the new one out, and I hooked up my Bluetooth speaker that had on my old laptop. Just suddenly, I could get a Bluetooth speaker to work for a month, and then it would just never connect again. I could get another speaker and connect it, but it was just like it wouldn't hold a pairing with a device, and you couldn't repair. It didn't matter if you deleted it and tried to pair it again; it just wouldn't work with that device ever again. So the new laptop got Bluetooth, got my gosh, I love my little Bluetooth speaker. Great sound. I get them paired. I'm listening to some music while I'm on my old laptop cleaning files. So I'm not even touching this sucker. All of a sudden, the sound stops. Speaker's on. I see the music little thing playing, but of course, because I'm using the speakers, so I change it to use the computer speaker, so the sound comes out of there. Bluetooth said it's installed, but it's not working. So I looked for updated drivers, didn't do anything. So I get on the Dell support site and said, well, that happens, but I deleted my drivers and then downloaded the drivers and reinstalled them. Did that. When I tried to reinstall the drivers, I said, well, you don't have Bluetooth installed. So why does it show up on my list of devices if it's not installed?
Right.
So I go to the Dell support site. Well, this and now the miracle, the great revelation is I find like 5 or 6 people. Bluetooth suddenly stopped working while it was playing sound. Did the driver thing. Shows up as a device and says it's not there, and they took it to get repaired. And apparently the leads to your Bluetooth card internal just disconnect. This one guy has taken his in for repair 5 times in 2 months.
Yeah.
They even took some kind of plastic something and covered the lead so that they would not move again. I only use Bluetooth for my Bluetooth speaker. But it ticks me off. It didn't work 2 hours. And I can understand leads coming off if I touched the computer. Oh, well. That's
right.
my technical rant for the day. You've got your I don't give a crap expression on your face. That's okay.
No, it's aggravating. It's one of those things you got to deal with, And me, I deal with it, and then I go to Twitter, and it's like, oh, well, it's Jay's fault, dude.
Well, it was.
But yeah, I mean, so those are things you just have to deal with, and
even if your equipment had been working yesterday, it wouldn't have been a full show. Why?
Right.
Also, your fault.
Right. It always is, but it's you learn and you keep going forward.
Well, you have no choice because. Well, never mind. Anyhow, it's spring. Get out there. Get some fresh air.
Yeah.
For the love of muffins, if anybody else transfers, smile and go on because all your little snarky comments are not going to change it. As a matter of fact, if you think it doesn't have a negative impact on recruiting, you would be sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
Who wants to come here with a bunch of... Never mind. I didn't say it because I'm not saying bad words.
Oh, I'm going to say it in post. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, well. We have to talk about that. Anyway, you all have a fabulous week. We'll be back on our regular Monday instead of Tuesday Monday, which is kind of like episode 1.2. But,
no.
Yeah,
Don't
you lost it.
Don't do that.
Just know, wherever we go, whatever we do,
we're always rocking Kentucky Blue.
Thanks for listening to the Rockin' Kentucky Blue podcast. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Radio Public, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to stop by and leave us a rating and review. And tune in next time for another episode of Rockin' Kentucky Blue.